Welcome back, everybody. It's Game 4 between the GIGABYTE Marines and SuperMassive. The latter which on the back foot. They'll be changing things up a little bit this time, Rusty. It looks like the GIGABYTE Marines, they picked themselves blue side for a change.
Yeah, and I mean, starting with the change of sides, what does the blue side really mean for the GIGABYTE Marines? Well, we've got 3 games of sample size prior to this, and my spidey senses tell me that something along the lines of an Ashe could actually be one of the highest contention picks, as it has been readily taken away from the GIGABYTE Marines by SuperMassive. That and the one time they were open to choosing it, it was their first rotation. But this does actually open up a can of worms as to what will be picked opposing them. Does the Gragas get taken away like the analyst desk actually spoke towards? And do they go full TSM in the way they're going to try and ban out and pick out against their opponents?
Absolutely, but you have to think SuperMassive, they're going to have to choose very carefully because they have been sticking to some of the same bans, trying to deny what worked for the GIGABYTE Marines in their previous series. Obviously, things kind of fell apart last time around when they played TSM because they started losing out on the Gragas, losing out on the Ziggs, but they found other answers. Like the Jhin definitely worked for a while in this series.
Yeah.
It seems like that's sort of been shut down a little bit by SuperMassive, but there's so much else there, right? The Syndra came in huge. Okay, one derp early on in the game for Optimus, but he's allowed one, and then he just pretty much goes legendary.
Yeah, and I don't actually think that like Jin's a problem or a pain point for either of these teams, really. It's just a champion that was chosen that actually found a degree of success. But in terms of like order of priority, Ashe was definitely above that one, as was Varus, because Varus often taken away from Zeitnot, not letting him have one of his better champions. Yes, Ashe might be considered a little bit better, but Zeitnot still looked fantastic. In fact, he looked like one of the best players on his team, all things considered. Looking at that last game, realistically, I'd say Naru was the underperformer on his Echo, and I feel like that's the one place where things will change. Syndra and Echo may not exist.
Well, we'll be finding out as we're into picks and bans. Galio, Ivern banned by the GIGABYTE Marines, and another pair of Yordles for SuperMassive with the Ziggs and Kennen off the table.
Ziggs and Kennen removed. Stock standard. Also, a couple of adaptations from the Marines, however, with this ban phase. Remember, they get the first pick for the first time in this series, but Ivern Rumble just beating the champions that beat them, just immediately removed.
And a quick Syndra ban by SuperMassive in the first rotation. They don't want to give this over to GIGABYTE Marines. We'll see if your prediction comes true, if they lock in the early Ashe for Slay. Looks like instead they might be favoring the Gragas. That's their first pickup for Stark.
Yeah, still 2 champions of massive priority. The Gragas, I'm not surprised that they will first pick for it. It was more speculation that perhaps Ashe was even a higher priority than Gragas, but they don't want to risk SuperMassive being on red side taking the Gragas from them. They want to make sure that Stark is set up for success as best he can. As this should, I'm surprised.
I mean, critical that all these 80 carries were left up and available in this pick and ban phase, but it is the first pick Ashe coming in for Zeitnot. What are they going to pair it with here? That's the question. But LeBlanc had also made it through. Line pick for Naru early on. Here it is.
Yeah, they picked the LeBlanc. They also get the Ashe. Now, again, Caitlyn was there, a champion that has been religiously taken away from Zeitnot as it's above and beyond his best. But the Ashe, yes, he is good on it. It's also taken away from Slay. So naturally, they will pick up the 2-for-1 with that AD carry of choice. LeBlanc being picked, there are options into it. They could honestly go Lulu Karma as a rotation if they're really feeling up to it and just try and hold on through that laning phase. Lulu mid, notoriously good. Vedius has spoken about it as to how it works into LeBlanc. Karma does the same thing as to how it works. They have choices.
They could pair with the same lane that they were dealing with last time around. With the Lulu locked in now, hovering on the Varus, and it's locked for Slay.
They pick themselves their bottom lane, so Lulu Varus naturally in the face of an Ashe, they're going to try and go towards a bit more kill pressure. We saw it last game, honestly. Zeitnot, Dumbledoge taking out Slay and Archie as they hit level 6 first. The kill threat is definitely a genuine thing to be considered. But we're yet to see a jungler in the first 3 rotations, which is very different.
Yeah, now we have the Zyra locked in for Dumbledoge. So the Ashe Zyra lane once again making an appearance. We're in a ban phase 2. Is this where the jungle pool starts to get hit? So far it was only the Ivern that was banned out of all those champions.
Well, SuperMassive have the first rotation. If they're looking to go towards a jungler as their 4th pick, they can immediately ban away the ones they don't want to play. But for their first ban, it's pretty risky. I would almost consider mid laners, such as
the Karma. Especially when you're talking about dealing with LeBlanc, there's still the possibility of the Lulu being that support, but then you deny the extra shields from the Karma. So that's SuperMassive's choice. Back over to GIGABYTE Marines for their ban.
You can try and play what you like into the Karma, the LeBlanc rather, if you're feeling lucky. But the Karma, as we mentioned, a higher priority seems to be on the Varus for the Marines, opposed to that Karma, and rightly so, it does get removed off the borders. we aren't going to see the junglers banned just yet. We may see one from SuperMassive if they have a preference, but nope.
That's the Shen, followed up by the Ahri ban. SuperMassive throwing a lot of things at Optimus. A lot of bans spent his
Nautilus
way.
go with it is the question with these top lane bans. They try and force Mr. Fabulous onto something else. Fizz also actually needs to be thought of.
Definitely something you want to consider. Nautilus is the one that they ban away. So Fabulous kind of gets hit towards that latter half of the ban phase.
Keeping in mind that Optimus is also a Fizz player, so perhaps by banning the Nautilus opposed to the Fizz, they throw the gauntlet down and say, if you don't pick it, we might. Kind of force the tempo onto them.
More questions be answered soon. With all the junglers making their way through, looks like Stomage wants to try his hand once more at the Lee Sin. Remember, all the way back to game 1 of the series, he was having a hard time, but not because of the champion, more so because Levi was just giving him no rest.
Well, it's because the strategy revolved around keeping Stomage down in its entirety. Level 1, invade him. Level 2, go to his blue buff, take everything from him. It happened in the last game, but his team collapsed around him a little bit better. So expectations will be exactly this one more time. The jungle is picked first, but now we get to finally see what's happening in this middle lane for Optimus. Where does his heart desire him to go?
Well, he always has the potential to match Assassin for Assassin, a guy that's very known for high mechanical ability. It's always possible. They have themselves some magic damage, so it wouldn't be the end of the world for sure. But does he play it safe? Does he go for the Lulu? Do they instead take Archie a different support? No, something completely different. It's a Lissandra.
Curious that someone would actually go towards the Lissandra. I personally am actually a big fan of the champion. I would say with the slight buffs that Lissandra had, I don't think they mean a single thing, especially not in this patch right now. But Lissandra being picked into LeBlanc, namely, has pretty good wave tempo, can run teleport, can split push, and can kind of match the pressure that a LeBlanc places down now with what is usually the Gunblade Lichbane build.
And then over to SuperMassive, the final pickup. They just needed themselves a tank. With a lot of them banned away, fall back to the next. It ends up being the Maokai for Fabulous.
Maokai by no means bad, just not as good as Nautilus. Gragas, you would expect, actually has a bit of control during that laning phase, but in his own right, Fabulous should be okay. We don't usually look at this top lane between Stark and Fabulous and say someone's going to outright beat the other person. We still always bring our attention towards from the jungle down on your champions list, because junglers, I'd say, are most important. Naru has been very inconsistent at the moment, where Optimus just spontaneously dies at level 1s, but barring that has been quite solid. And the bottom lane 2v2 has honestly been surprising with how it's panned out.
Yeah. And for the first time, we're going to have the teleports matched 2 for 2 on both sides of the map, so we could be in for some real crazy 5v5s, whereas last time we could really kind of predict that at a certain moment, a team was going to have an edge coming into things, but that can be very different. Seems like the plan for SuperMassive, though, is still going to try to roll this LeBlanc forward as best as possible. Not going to be the easiest thing up against Optimus on this Lissandra.
And it'd be bittersweet for the GIGABYTE Marines at match point to play the same champions that SuperMassive did in the 2v2 and beat them with it this time around, but it's always a possibility. And it's a statement game, to say the least, if that's the case.
We'll see how it all pans out. Slay and Archie have definitely been surprising Zeitnot and Dumbledoge, but maybe this is where things turn around once again. We saw what happened when they can hit the fast level up, get themselves an edge over their opponents. But you're gonna need more than that to take out the Marines right now. They want to even this series up and get themselves a chance to move on to the next stage at the mid-season Invitational. And we are out of the gates for Game 4.
We absolutely are, and again, we hinted towards the potential for 1-3-1s as this game progresses. This is the GIGABYTE Marines matching what SuperMassive did in game number 4, potentially trying to best them at their own game. Instead of having the Syndra, instead of having somebody that runs Ignite, trying to survive as teleports happen, as rotates happen, and pull them around the map. Awkwardly, they have said we'll meet you in the middle. And it is all about, realistically, how these mid laners perform, because if the LeBlanc is fed, everybody explodes. But if the Lissandra gets fed, not even sure that LeBlanc can side lane against it, as it is an adorable skin.
Yep. This is a much cuter tree. I'll give you that one, Rusty.
Is that a chroma?
Yeah, I think so.
I had no idea that had chroma.
He's got multiple pajamas.
He does.
Yeah, who has one set?
I mean, green makes more sense, too, for what it's worth, as GIGABYTE Marines are now doing a level 1.
Heading their way up top. Optimus, Levi, Stark, all here. Nobody's in this brush. No one's anywhere near this brush, to be honest. And you can also see SuperMassive are kind of taking the safe point, trying to get that assist on the Raptor camp. Naru's not far away from Fab Fabulous and Stomage.
And they'll probably do this. They might actually go the long way to the Raptors, actually catch them as the Raptors spawn. As both of them leave this bush, that's where they might actually enter the area.
Oh boy, they see him.
They know.
Levi, all of a sudden, it's 2v3. Stark gets a big bop on, but in goes Stomage looking for Levi straight into the back line as Naru's there, and it looks like they don't want to finish it off. Instead, start on the Raptor camp.
We're fighting for it.
Okay.
That's
anything else to go. A couple of Raptors going the way of Stomage, but Levi's got some help. The smite's down, stealing it away.
And Levi wins the smite battle, but not just that. Lee Sin doing this red buff by himself. You'll watch his health bar go down pretty quickly. You compare that to Graves, who can walk over to his blue and not actually really take any damage at all. He should be perfectly fine. So for what it's worth, this is still a lead for the GIGABYTE Marines.
Yeah, it's exactly the way that they wanted to start it off. They started in game 1, setting Stomage behind. It could be the same story again here. Maybe not as far behind, but he's going to have a rough path ahead, and Stomage needs to have an impact early on this Lee Sin. And Rusty, especially if they want to be able to contest down in the bottom. Once again, we have a very important Drake.
It's another mountain Drake. If it's not a mountain, it's an infernal. One big thing though, I mean, I didn't really mention it. Stomage, whilst he loses a bit more health, he's forced to smite. Oh, bottom fighting.
Okay. Good old level 2 fight. Zeitnot burning 2 summoners to get out of there.
This is also the side of the map where the junglers will go, what is currently on your screen. So if summoners are burnt, just keep your eyes peeled.
Okay, Optimus, Naru still dueling with each other, but we'll take a look at the jungle right now as Zeitnot is going to get first blooded. Stomage comes right on in, and they equalize on 80 carries.
Archie in trouble.
Archie's by himself. He's going to have to dodge out the Sonic Wave, and
he was expecting the juke. Again, the flash was always going to be there from Archie, but the resilience to hold the summoner, even a prediction on the juke wasn't going to be enough for Lee Sin. He was playing a pretty tough mental game. Still gets a kill for his troubles, as we get to see once again. The first blood, Lee Sin just shows himself now. Unfortunately, another Q missing from him. I don't think he actually hit one down in this trade, but comes in to make sure the kill is his nonetheless, as this is expecting a juke. And apparently Dumbledore's dead.
Okay, so we know who the better support is here. Once and for all, totally settled. Man, we just keep missing them by inches. Archie coming up with that kill, and you could see that summoners were burned on both sides once again. Dumbledore just flashes down, so is Archie's. But now you've got level advantage for the support.
Now you have to wonder, was Dumbledore's trying to hold a minion wave and die into the minion wave?
Oh, Optimus! He turns back around. Naru wasn't expecting Levi to be right in front of his face.
Adventurous flash forwards from Levi. I don't think he needed to commit that hard, but also helping to reset the 1v1 in this middle lane where Lissandra hasn't really been having a great time. Stomage now trying to make his mark on it as it pushes in.
Looking for Levi. Naru's here. He's healthy enough for the time being. There's a Q. It's point blank, able to connect. Still not enough to finish, and the claw comes out to deter Stomage to Naru any further.
And they thought Optimus had already gone back to base, so they tried to time it their best as we get to see how this happens. Archie has a level advantage.
Oh, Pix hurts.
What a baller.
He was on a ward that entire time.
This guy.
Gotta give it to him. All right, so all things said and done, we're 2-1, but the bottom lane decides to keep on fighting. Slay's a little low here.
He has got a Vamp Scepter. He's also gone for the refillable potion route. One other thing that I have to mention because it's my favorite thing about watching competitive games. 5 control wards from the GIGABYTE Marines. Archie just removes 1 from his inventory and there's still 4 present. This is how you win games in competitive. You buy control wards everywhere. And because they have the slight edges across Summoner's Rift as it first started, they have enough gold to be able to afford those control wards.
Vision's definitely the important part of the game.
Very difficult for Stomage to gank through all of that when they get placed.
Yeah. Still, Stomage has been making his presence known. He came bot early on, get that 1 kill, but he's not the only one that likes to go roaming. Optimus clearing away the Scryer's Bloom to make sure nobody's in that side of the SuperMassive jungle.
Also clearing the pit near the blue buff area, so not only revealing vision, but also resetting when the blue buff spawns. It's just Dumbledore by himself. Slay still has the life steal.
It's all good for now. Now Levi returns to the scene of the crime. Level 1, trying to deny Raptors once again. He's able to get a 1 back. Stomage is not going to idly let that one go, but he realizes he needs to finish the Raptors off.
He's going to idly let that one go.
Yep.
Just ward hops for effect.
I was incorrect assuming he'd be chasing that down. Level 5 now.
2 level advantage in mid lane for the record. Naru is bodying Optimus. He's just got 5.
Yeah, that's what you need to do with the LeBlanc too. And now Stomage tries to go turnabout, but Levi was there once again. Half his health bar's gone. Teleport in for Stark.
Here.
They want to collapse on. They find Stomage, and Stark is going to get the finisher.
Archie even nearby to rotate. Varus was also making his way up. The GIGABYTE Marines, you can feel Stomage getting flustered. Like, you can just tell that he was a little bit annoyed that Levi reared his head and was like, well, you want to take 2 of my Raptors, I'm going to take 2 of yours. And that's why he dies.
Can't play the game the GIGABYTE Marines want you to play. Lured him right into the trap, and we're able to take him down. That's the first kill of the game for Stark. It'll make it a little easier for him to push in Fabulous. Always, that has been a very quiet lane. Optimus goes in for the Frozen Tomb. Chains are on, but it doesn't matter. With the help of Levi, he tags him out.
LeBlanc is one of the most mobile champions in League of Legends, but Lissandra is also one of the best champions at locking you down. Bottom is fighting as well. You just let me talk. It's all right. Woosah.
Okay, you can go again.
No, I've lost it.
All right, well, whatever. We're right back to the top lane. Stark is finding Fabulous. Turning in, burning for just a little bit more. Archie's going to back off, so Slay has to be careful now, but this is what you see. The reason Optimus taking that Lissandra, exactly that. He's able to get the lockdown. Levi comes in.
Yeah.
Just gets the assist, but it doesn't matter. Shutting down LeBlanc's key to this game.
One of those things as well, like Maokai has historically been one of the better picks, not mid lane obviously, but one of the better picks into LeBlanc as a team composition counter, because LeBlanc has to overexert herself to place the poke down onto most people, as we'll see if this gets him.
Nope,
Stark
doesn't
get him
care.
at all. He actually pretended it didn't exist. But the reason that Maokai is a counter to LeBlanc is because she goes in, you're guaranteed to lock it down. That's the thing with Lissandra ultimate as well. If you're able to hit the right LeBlanc, then you will lock her down. That means the W is naturally going to hit afterwards. And with these 2 amounts of crowd control next to Levi, who's playing the Graves, the burst will be enough to kill any LeBlanc.
Setback for Nara right now. As you talked about him being a little inconsistent in this series. It's kind of all on the line right now. We need to see him stepping up, but he's getting locked down by Optimus. Even with the level advantage, it just wasn't enough. And now you can see Naru trying to find kills elsewhere on the map. Throws down a couple of wards. Not going to go roaming just yet.
He's waiting. Stomage is here as well, but so is Levi. This could be a 2v2.
Chains on. Optimus gets out of range. Nice and quiet. No one's going to pull the trigger just yet. SuperMassive
red buff
are still down. Now Stomage. Is this where he gets revenge?
It might be.
Sonic Wave.
He'll probably go for the smite. No, he's not even going to commit to the smite wall. Level disadvantage is enough to deter him.
Stomage looks like he's playing scared.
Just a little bit. I feel like he learned his lesson. He's still perfectly fine. It's 1 level disadvantage, sure, but he has still got a kill. He's got some long swords.
Cute dodging from Levi. There we go. End of the line. That's a lot of damage from Levi. Even trade at the end of it all.
They both have red buffs too, so the regeneration will be there when they're out of combat. Everything will be okay, but the real winner here is Levi because it's in his jungle. That's a teleport bottom from Optimus.
Yeah, he may not even be needed right now as Zeitnot's going to flash one way, but looks like the rest of the team's going to be there to really slow it down. Optimus trying for a way in, but the plants keep pushing him back. Naru's there. Chains flashed over. Stomage is the target, and Slay takes him down. Now Fabulous has a big maelstrom on, but he's exhausted away, and Levi chases over the wall with the flash to follow through. 2 kills for none picked up, and GIGABYTE Marines are looking for bot turret.
Yeah, clean from the Marines, honestly, just going down to the bottom lane. Naru's not going to be able to do a single thing mid, and Stark had chased Zeitnot the whole way up the river, basically, as now they threaten the bottom lane turret. This is exactly what the Marines do best. They get a pick, and that pick translates into multiple because they're just so damn aggressive, and suddenly turrets fall, and gold leads form.
Just like that, you got 3,000 in the lead at 10 minutes. Here was the start of it all. Chains onto Zeitnot.
Almost deja vu of the last game, Pyra, I think it's safe to say, right? The way that we saw it for SuperMassive, as the teleport just came down to bottom.
Naru wanted to finish off Slay, but look at that, he's burning low, and the minions get him. It's Slay getting the kill credit, as Optimus is getting kicked back away, but he's still able to finish the claw. Stomage following through.
Stomage
Desperately needs to help get some kills on the board, but double doge going in, going too deep. Stomage follows, the shield is there. It's a double kill for Optimus. Things are falling apart for SuperMassive.
Lulu just shows up. It's like, I hear you want to kill. It'd be a shame if something would have happened to it.
And Stark was there.
Also here, yeah. The GIGABYTE Marines, they've turned it on.
This is looking like game 1, Rusty. 9 kills to 1. 11 minutes on the clock. The gold lead's getting out of control. This is a nightmare for SuperMassive.
Crowd loves it.
Every minute of it. GIGABYTE Marines looking to stamp their authority, close out this game. I'm saying it at 11 minutes, close out the series is what I mean, but let's take a look at this again right after the replay. Teleport finishes for the LeBlanc.
And the teleport's fine, but the timing, you have to say, on that W from Optimus was incredible, locking him down as he was distorting forwards. This is cute from Optimus. You can obviously follow the claw through. Puts him next to Slay. And Double Doge decides that because he has Ignite, he has enough to get the kill. But he doesn't, as we're fighting again.
And Stark is killing Double Doge again. All right, right back to it. We continue the tradition. As soon as the replay happens, we have to see more.
It's like they know we're replaying a fight. They're onto us.
I think they're just not stopping the action right now. GIGABYTE Marines can get everything they want at the minute. Stomage gets a kick back onto Stark. Zeitnot's here. Do they dare to go deeper? It looks like the answer is no.
I don't think
Zeitnot's
so.
still chasing.
You know he'll go on you.
Stomage has no kick anymore. Oh, he goes in. There we go. Oh, the damage.
Really?
Hello.
Oh, Naru.
Going in. Zeitnot getting the credit. They're going to turn it on to Levy. Maybe this is the chance they need, but Naru realizes Optimus is there. Doesn't want to follow. It ends up being a 1-for-1.
Levi barely lives. They're diving top lane.
Yeah, and Fabulous, he might not live through this one. Slay still tanking tower. This has gone a little wonky.
Slightly haywire. The GIGABYTE Marines, however, what they have done is they've enacted a lane swap. They've got item spikes. They are so far ahead of the opposing team that they're able to force this onto their opponents. It's by no means wrong.
No, it's working out for them.
It's
Three
just
kill
wild.
Lissandra. Abyssal Scepter completed, right? You've got the Blade of the Rune King already on the Varus. They're hitting these spikes a lot faster. SuperMassive, this game will spiral out of control if they don't stop the bleeding.
Yeah, definitely right. But how are they going to stop the bleeding when the pressure that comes out of a team with this much momentum is so high? It's not like we're watching SuperMassive with a 4K lead and GIGABYTE's getting opportunities to come back into the game. This is a fast-paced, aggressive Vietnamese side with all of the tools in their arsenal being used to only go forwards. They will fight you at every opportunity where you don't expect them to. And so to come back into a game like this, you really have to pull out something crazy or unexpected. And against a team that thrives in unexpected. SuperMassive need to actually turn it on. This could be an Ash Arrow opportunity.
He's holding on to it for now, content to just clear the turret. Remember, the tower lead is not huge right now. It is only 1-2, but that could change very quickly with a 3-stack for GIGABYTE Marines up top.
Exactly right, with 3 of them up here. Levi's hit a counter gank, he knows. They want that
1-3-1. Just content to let the minions crash into it for now. Zeitnot and Dumbledoge going to have to be pushing it back here. The chains are on to Optimus. Was able to dodge some of the damage from that Lissandra. Flashback to the Frozen Tomb.
Of course, forcing him to go back, doesn't want to lose any health himself. Naru doesn't have a completed Gunblade, so the trades that go equal aren't exactly efficient just yet.
Yeah, that's a closing window too, right? LeBlanc, you want to get out of this landing phase with the lead, but he has a 2-death count. No kills on the board. And he hasn't even been winning in farm right now, so it's a little difficult right now if you're Naru.
And you're not even sure that he's going to actually complete the Gunblade. I doubt he will. In fact, it's not going to trick him. It's your own lane. I actually believe that where he's going now with the Fiendish Codex should be a completed other item. Should leave it at the Revolver. He's already too far behind to commit to completing an item that for ability power is not that efficient, because building the Cutlass in a situation like this doesn't feel great at all.
No, it definitely is not an ideal situation right now. SuperMassive, 2 kills on the board. That's it, handful for them. Stomage has been pushed back time and again in this series. At least he can secure some vision for his team. But they need to find answers, and it looks like this is a team that would thrive very much in the mid game if they were even or even a little bit ahead, but it's very much not the case.
They're actually looking to dive, it seems, top lane.
They get it though.
Stomage has flash, so he can navigate this. It's about the Ash Arrow though.
This is a long collapse. Slay's coming forward, Ash Arrow to the back of Slay, teleport, double TP coming up. Slay's tanking for just a moment more. He will finally fall, but in comes Optimus. Immediate turn for Zeitnot and claws him down. Archie's gonna get followed up on by Stomage and Fabulous. Who's gonna win this one though? Optimus, nowhere else to go. Shut down by Fab. And it's Stark who's too late to the party. It's a 1-for-3 in favor of SuperMassive.
Yeah, and for no particular reason, Levi is a split-pushing Graves right now. So yes, they get the kills, and that is a very good move from SuperMassive to try and pull themselves back into this game. It'll end up becoming a turret trade as the end goal and the primary objective for them, forcing teleports as well. They may not even get the turret in the end. In fact, I don't think we'll see anything happen.
All right. opted to pull out from the turret, pushing. Not going to be enough here, and here's the start to the fight as Stomage looks to collapse in.
And this is quite simply the arrow hitting, followed with the Zyra. It's the crowd control that you see from them. Now, Optimus destroys Zydon. He no longer exists. Archie, basically a non-factor as well, but because there's just one too many extra people here, you'd have to imagine that if Graves was nearby, not actually pushing the bottom wave, that could have been a different story. But the story is all about Supermassive in that fight. With a 4K gold deficit, they managed to retain that and get some gold.
Yeah. It's encouraging for Supermassive so they can still take fights, burning 2 teleports. But they got to be careful. Zeitnot chased through, and collateral damage, everything thrown at him, including Levi with an end of the line. Zeitnot is going to limp away, but this tower's not so lucky.
It's a little bit much, don't you think? Stark now going to probably try and do it himself. He may just throw an explosive cask somewhere and see what happens. The arrow hits.
Onto Optimus, in goes Naru. No deletion possible. The heal was even more there. As Fab Fabulous comes in, the Frozen Tomb is down to heal up Optimus. Fab Fabulous tries to recommit back in. The Maelstrom pops for not enough damage, and Slay will take down the Supermassive top laner.
Optimus has an Abyssal Scepter. He also had his ultimate that he self-casted. So in terms of killing Lysandras, if it wasn't during the duration of the Ash Arrow, then it wasn't going to happen as Naru. Was it worth it, buddy?
If he got the kill, that's a maybe, but not this time around. Flashes and flashes all across the board. We're seeing some serious carnage this game, Rusty. It's just the majority of it. GIGABYTE Marines, they're finding themselves the wins, finding themselves the kills. The gold advantage still huge for this team. We haven't looked at Dragon for a little while, but of course it is an Infernal on the Rift. Supermassive, they might desperately rush this.
And I don't know how much of this will be desperation. They are at the very least going to pull it out. They've got control wood vision there. If they try and fight this, remember it is on the Scuttle Crab.
Stark's here.
Supermassive probably don't want to fight this is what I'm saying. They want to try and sneak it, not fight for it. But you know what? Here we are.
Looks like it's going to be a smite fight right now. The fight will probably
2 levels for Levi.
Here we go. It's going to go the way of Stomage. He gets it at the last second, but now can Supermassive get out?
You'd have to expect with the extra levels of Levi, the smite would have been enough, but the execute damage out of Lee Sin with his Sonic Wave proves to be what it takes as Stomage.
I would not go that way.
Directions.
Yeah, that's a clutch safeguard.
Threatening the middle lane inner though, that's the name of the game here for the Marines.
They can get it. Big for these guys. Turn it on as there is no Naru here. Tower falling all the way down to half health, but Fab Fabulous coming right back on in. Twisted advance onto Stark. Stomage gets a big kick onto Levy, but he's still dishing the damage onto Zeitnot. There just is not enough for Supermassive, and this platoon of Marines is charging in.
You can kick him in, but if the turret's dead, it's not a danger zone anymore. In fact, Levi was then kicked under the loving arms of his team where he turned around and destroyed everybody in front of him. The Graves is huge, and unfortunately for Stomage, it's not going to be enough. The rest of the team weren't able to defend that one, and the bottom lane turret is still standing. Supermassive, they are beyond a point where they're on the back foot. They are definitely desperate.
This is when you got to start making any play you possibly can. We've already seen that out of Supermassive, but what else do they have left of them? We're 19 minutes and some change into this game, and it's such a massive disadvantage for the Supermassive squad. Just trying to stay alive. They want to make it onto the next stage of MSI, but it is looking less and less likely.
And you know what I admire most, honestly, Pyre, is that on the cusp of going to the MSI main event, taking on all of these massive names, including the likes of SKT, the GIGABYTE Marines are still aggressive. They haven't changed. They are exactly what they need to be. And I feel like a lot of teams can look at a performance like this and actually learn from it. Because it proves that if you spend an entire season, and historically your entire career being aggressive, you don't come onto the main stage and play slow. You play what you are.
Something to be said for playing exactly the way that you are the most comfortable with. Sure, you might want to hide some strats. Sure, you might not want to reveal things to your opponents, but it doesn't matter if you're not good enough to play them at that high level.
So no point hiding strategies in a game like this.
No, definitely not. Well,
teleports are in, that's 2 of them.
Okay, Stark and Optimus coming. Stomage sight not immediately bailing out, but all of a sudden Double Doge didn't get the memo. Optimus, with a little help from Levi, blow him away, and now it's going to be open season on this mid tower.
And they're just running straight down the middle lane. There's an outer turret alive in top, but there's no reason for them to go there. Stomage, you do not really want to take that engage, buddy. There's not a lot that can prevent the GIGABYTE Marines from taking down this inhibitor.
The walls are crumbling around Supermassive. Not much base left to speak of as this inhibitor is going to fall. Death timers for Double Doge coming right back up, and it's all Naru and the rest of SuperMassive can do to just clear away minion waves, but all of a sudden, GIGABYTE Marines aren't done.
And they just go straight to the enemy blue buff right now. They can potentially catch the minion wave in bottom and try and go towards the inner turret. But at the same time, I just have this feeling that they may not even want to do that, because if the opportunity presents itself, they'll just end the game through mid.
Looks like that might be the chance right now with an inhibitor down. SuperMassive are going to the next available thing to defend. It's going to be that bottom tier 2 that we saw being pecked away out earlier on in the game, but GIGABYTE Marines having such a huge advantage here. It's hard to see them not pushing it short of a catastrophic mistake. And
there
they're going
it
to
is.
take the tower. They're going to get the bop, and now Zeitnot, the rest of the team, is going nowhere as GIGABYTE Marines start pushing them down. So much getting the kick, flashing out of harm's way, but Slay looking to chase down, even tanking tower shots. Levi getting a double kill as he flashes in for the collateral. GIGABYTE Marines want to end this right here, right now.
GIGABYTE Marines stand and deliver, and now they're about to send themselves, potentially, if they can kill this Nexus, all the way to the main event.
It's only Naru trying to stay alive here, trying to keep their hopes alive, but it is going to be way too little. It is going to be way too late. That's the ace. GIGABYTE Marines, they stay true, they stay aggressive, and they punch their tickets. Over to Rio. Well, wait a minute. One last effort to try and push him back. That's it. GIGABYTE Marines with the victory.
And congratulations to our final winners, our final representatives at the MSI main event. Once again, the GIGABYTE Marines. They played their hearts out, but the aggressive style that you come to know and love these guys for always stays true every event that they go towards. It's a pleasure to see that they've never changed.
I can't wait to see how they take to the big stage against the likes of Team WE, SKT, all these teams, TSM, Flash Wolves. We saw how everybody played. I cannot wait to see what they can bring out. But today, they are big winners, 3-1 over SuperMassive.
And you can see they're not just winners in the heart of the crowd as well. They're also superstars. Levi is an absolute gun. Optimus also flanking him. I mean, the whole team showed up when it mattered the most for them, right? And that's the most important part to me, is the bottom lane, what we called the weakest lane of this team,
They were
actually
showing up.
put in a lot of work in this series.
Yeah, honestly, outclassing Zeitnot and Dumbledoge on a number of occasions, and those guys were a large part of the SuperMassive success. Honestly, I've got some serious hope for this team coming into the main stage. You always think about, oh, these big teams, these big regions, they're always going to crush. Well, I don't know about that. Maybe not the case with the way the GIGABYTE Marines are playing.
I mean, with the way that they played against TSM, maybe it was TSM underperforming, but I have high hopes for the GIGABYTE Marines with this crazy style. If anyone wants to meet them, fight them in the chaos, you may find yourself actually going down to their level, and that's exactly where they want to meet you. Fighting in the mud, they will always win.
And they're a lot more comfortable doing it for sure. That was, honestly, that was a treat to watch. That whole series was incredible. Even SuperMassive firing back, it just wasn't quite enough. And at the end of the day, GIGABYTE Marines well-earned victory. But for an in-depth look at how the Marines took that series, we're going to hand it off once more to the analysts.
Thank you, Pyra. Later on, we'll get to hear more from that series from Optimus, but for now, we are going to take a look back at that game, starting off by looking at some of the team compositions that we saw put together in this one. And the first standout, Vedius, you're a resident mid laner. You're the man who knows the matchups. Talk to me about this, Lissandra.
So I was a little skeptical at first. I was like, Lissandra. But then when you actually look a little bit more into the matchup, usually during the laning phase, what you'll often see is every time LeBlanc goes in, you're always going to get punished by the Lissandra, because that delay on the W will give you enough time for the Lissandra to root, hit you with a Q, auto, that's going to proc a Thunderlords. So it's fairly even trading, but Lissandra will always have a slight push advantage during the mid lane. It's when level 6 comes around, that's where things really start going in the favor of the Lissandra, because every time LeBlanc tries to do anything, she gets put in a tomb. And then the rest of the team lock her down, and then you end up just having a useless assassin.
Stays in the tomb.
Yeah, she stays in there, exactly. So I think the pick was smart overall, and I think that it was picked into a good composition as well. I think that it's important that you have high damage coming from both your jungle and AD carry roles, because she as a mid laner doesn't have a huge amount of damage herself after the countless number of nerfs that she's had since she was really popular in competitive play. So the Graves in particular worked very nicely, because you'd get locked down in the mids, and then Graves would just come and clean up.
And I just love the attitude there. It's like, hey, we're a team that loves to fight. We want to go aggressive. why would we pick something that needs time to scale? Let's pick a champion that can facilitate that. And I think that's the other time that I wouldn't want to see Alessandra picked is if you're a team that wants to sit back, right? She's exceptionally good at starting fights, or at least getting single targets, multiple targets in a fight, just going over a wall and saying, hey, fight's on. Oh, you're already dead now.
And of course, one of our big concerns when we talk about Levi on this Graves was also, hey, you don't have the CC, you can't make the plays yourself. Well, Alessandra, she can set the plays up for Levi. Levi can back up with the damage, so kind of shifting roles there. But despite this, despite all of this interesting stuff happening in mid lane, the bot lane continues to be a hugely contentious subject for both of these teams. We take a chance to look at some of these first blood kills coming out, because it's like they have a blood pact. Like, someone's got to die in bot lane every time we go into game. This time, 1-for-1 trade, and it just goes south here as we look ahead a few moments later, and you see the Zyra dying too.
It's the Varus Lulu, man. It's a powerful bottom lane that you need to show a lot of respect for. But I think that game 4, both these bottom lanes, they've gotten used to each other now, and they just want to look to trade. And it's understandable, especially like early levels, that you want to try and force fights as an Ashe Zyra, but they just weren't coordinating properly. You could just focus down the Zyra. She gets chunked out, and then the Ashe is like, oh, you want to fight? Oh, no, I don't have a support anymore. So it was a little bit of poor communication with which you saw that the GIGABYTE Marines were quick to take advantage of.
And for me, I think the big surprising factor is normally when we see bot lanes, get used to each other, get used to a matchup, normally they stop killing each other. Right? They stop going, and they're like, okay, we've learned our limits, it's time to stop fighting. And both of these sides seem to be like, no, it's cool now, we understand the matchup. Or they think they understand the matchup, like, we're definitely gonna win it at level 3 this time, we swear. And it just kept being this source of early leads, whether it was for one side or the other, mostly in the favor of the GIGABYTE Marines over the course of this series.
And it didn't stop there, because we had 4 teleports on the map at that point, and there was so much fighting in the bot lane that everyone's like, oh, well, where should we fight next? So bring the Lissandra in bottom lane. And it had already kind of started badly for SuperMassive. And then that series of back-to-back bot lane fights where Optimus just, I think
it was the second fight. We're going to take a chance to look at the second fight. There's a first fight. It goes in favor of the GIGABYTE Marines. And then SuperMassive want to take a second fight, and this is really where it goes
Beautiful
south.
Punish with the ice at first to block the distortion. And then it's just all about Optimus knowing how to play the fight.
Yeah, I think that you're realizing why cooldown reduction is an extremely valuable tool on Lissandra as well, because the more often she gets the rotations out, the more often she can lock you up and CC you down. And the way in which the GIGABYTE Marines played the skirmish just exemplifies their style to a T, right? The fact that they are always looking for these 2v2s, these 3v3s. Lissandra is not only a champion that helps facilitate that, but this is a team that just knows how to communicate and knows how to play around these kind of situations. And so when you are faced in what looks like a dire situation with which you should lose all 3 of your members, somehow the GIGABYTE Marines
And we've seen them play on that Razor's Edge before. We saw it last game with the Baron, with the Risk, while Echo is split pushing an inhibitor, they take a Baron. They do it again here in this bot lane fight where if anybody messes up a cooldown, it feels like everyone just dies on the side of the GIGABYTE Marines, but they managed to pull it out yet again.
The coordination and teamwork that I'm seeing from this team is very enjoyable to watch. I'm a little bit concerned, given that they will be moving on to MSI, their ability to play the map. And I think that their style is very similar to that of the Flash Wolves. And I think that they are a team that just knows how to better play, but they also have more plays in their book. So I think that it'll be interesting to see what they can learn, but I'm also really excited to see the rematch of them versus TSM, because in a best-of-1 scenario, I think that some upsets could occur.
TSM does, of course, have the chance to adapt, but as we focus back in on this game, I want to take a chance to look at the mid-game. So many kills going down for both sides, an absolutely bloody mid-game, but definitely one that favored the GIGABYTE Marines. And just hard to pick a single replay here when there is so much action.
And again, so much of this, you get like 40% cooldown on Lissandra. Surprise Ultimate is available again, and SuperMassive, they're already so far behind for a lot of these kills that they're trying to just roll the dice, throw everything they can at getting one member. And unfortunately, the GIGABYTE Marines are just grouped together as 5, have so much crowd control and damage to come from the rest of this composition that kick maybe ends a fight if this game is even. You get, the damage down into the backline, he gets picked off, but this far behind, no real hope in rolling things back in their favor.
And also, this team is really good at team fight, right? Like, they're just good, without a shadow of a doubt. It comes back to their coordination and communication that we've been talking about, but if you track the target focus that they have in these really big, messy fights, they're actually all on the same page. When they suddenly go, okay, we're hitting Maokai now, they will literally all turn onto Maokai, and they will either be giving the shield onto your front line, or they will be CCing at the right time. Like, this team has the coordination, and that's, I think, their biggest strength going into the main event.
I'm curious now, we talked a lot about the Lissandra, solid answer in this case to LeBlanc, good trading patterns that you mentioned earlier. Is this something we're going to see more as an answer to the pick? I know LeBlanc is kind of a hotly contested champion. People are frequently looking for these answers to shut her down. Is Lissandra something that we can expect to see more of?
I think it will depend on the individual. And I think it will depend on certain teams' play styles because she's not the sort of champion that I think you can just blind pick into any mid laner right now. I think that she is very specific into assassins in particular. But you also need that additional damage that we were talking about from the compositions as well.
Yeah, exactly. I think there is the risk if the game goes late, people start picking up damage. I mean, we saw Dumbledoge nearly having as much damage as the Lissandra, and the Lissandra was the one that was carrying. So, I mean, if that game hadn't ended swiftly, goes to 40 minutes, maybe you start not having quite so much impact with fewer and further between fights.
So definitely some potential weaknesses from that pick. Well, however, to hear more about GIGABYTE Marines' victory, let's send it over to Shox, who has an interview with their mid laner.
Thank you very much, guys. We are joined here by Optimus, or Optimus, from the GIGABYTE Marines after qualifying for the main event in Rio. So the first thing I have to ask, also seeing how you're wearing the flag, is how does it feel to be able to represent Vietnam and just as a team qualify for the main event?
Em có cảm giác như thế nào khi mà em đại diện đội Việt Nam lần đầu tiên vào được MSI?
Đầu tiên là cảm xúc cá nhân của em thì rất là vui, nhưng mà sau đó thì cả đội của tụi em đã đại diện được Việt Nam và bước được vào tới vòng MSI, thì em nghĩ rằng là có lẽ cảm giác đó nó một chút nào đó hưng phấn, bởi vì đây là lần đầu tiên mà chúng em bước vào một giải đấu mà nó là lớn nhất ở trong một giữa mùa giải, và vì vậy tụi em sẽ cảm thấy là nói chung là có một chút vui, nhưng mà bọn em vẫn chưa cảm thấy rằng là mình đã thể hiện đủ trong những trận đấu vừa qua.
Yeah, so personally, he feels really happy, but as a team, to represent Vietnam is like an honor, right? It's like it's the biggest tournament we ever been to, so it means a lot to me. And then even then, we need to try even harder to prepare for the event.
Well, it seems to me also today that you guys obviously played very much to win, but after game one, you played more careful than normally. Is that maybe the series versus TSM that crept back in your heads, or what was the approach for the series today to make sure that you could definitely win it?
Thì cái trận đầu tiên của mình á là mình đánh rất là mạnh, rất là sung, nhưng mà trận thứ hai mình cảm giác như mình chậm lại, thứ ba chậm lại, thì có phải là tại vì mình học được những bài học từ TSM hay không?
Nếu mà nhìn kỹ hơn thì chúng ta có thể thấy rằng là cái trận 2 cả đội quýnh nó còn nhanh hơn và náo nhiệt hơn nữa, nhưng mà cái đội đã phải mắc một sai lầm rất là lớn, bởi vì đã lấn quá sâu và cũng như là đánh quá mạnh và điểm yếu đã lộ ra, thì sau đó cả đội đã rất là chú trọng lại, nên trận 3 chúng ta phải cẩn thận rất nhiều, không thể nào mà ẩu được, bởi vì chúng ta đã bị lộ điểm yếu và đối phương có thể dễ dàng bắt bài chúng ta, nên đã thay đổi là đánh sẽ cẩn thận hơn một chút.
Yeah, so actually in game 2 we fought even more aggressive than game 1, but because of that we exposed our weaknesses, and once that exposed, we have to like regroup and like calm down throughout the next 3 or 4 games.
You guys did really well, and if you take a look back at the tournament as a whole, you did fantastic against every opponent, and that means that a lot of people are having some expectations that you guys could really be an underdog to watch. So what are your own expectations, and what are the own goals of the GIGABYTE Marines at the main event in Rio?
Thì khi mình đến cái giải này là mình coi như là đánh bại tất cả các đội hiện tại giờ luôn. Thì cái mong đợi của em khi nào em vào MSI chính như thế nào?
Nên nó lại là
cái mong đợi của em khi mà em vào MSI chính như thế nào?
Đến với MSI lần này thì em nghĩ rằng là các đội khác họ sẽ rất là mạnh mẽ, và mục đích của tụi em là sẽ giành chiến thắng được một hoặc vài trận, nhưng mà em nghĩ rằng là cả đội sẽ tập trung vào việc học hỏi tất cả những gì mà những đội khác tập luyện và họ thể hiện cho với những trận đấu chính thức với mình.
Yeah, so all the team in MSI this year is very strong. We are hoping to get at least 1 or 2 games or a few more if possible, but then we will focus on learning the best out of the best.
I'm very much looking forward to seeing you guys playing in Rio. Congratulations again, Optimus. Fantastic run from the GIGABYTE Marines so far. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Shox. I agree. Just fantastic performances coming in from the GIGABYTE Marines throughout the entirety of this tournament. And we were surprised at first when they came through in Group B. We were surprised when they took TSM to 5 games. And now I think finally we can say no surprise at least for Vedius, that they managed to take this one.
You win some, you lose some.
But I am so excited to see Optimus stack up against these world-renowned mid laners that will be coming to the competition. Faker, Bjergsen, Maple, Shie, Perks, like so many talented individuals that Optimus gets to test this stuff against, and I think it's going to be really fun to see what he can learn.
Sadly, you got to stop at the first name you said on the list and say Faker, and then everybody else is maybe a small step at least.
Probably should have ended on Faker.
Yeah, I'm like, I want to see Faker.
The best mid lane in the world and some other guys. Admittedly, they're all, of course, very talented.
Yeah.
But
You are right. Those matchups are going to be explosive, though. I think there are some real standouts there. And then, hell, maybe if somebody can take Faker to the limit.
Well, the big thing for me is the fact that even if he isn't able to, he's going to learn a lot, right? The fact that he's able to represent his region at such a big event, the fact that they've grown so much as a team, it's just been really exciting to watch. And we know that the region itself had a great performance at All-Stars, or the Wildcard All-Stars last year, and now they get to represent the region once more. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how well their style stacks up to that of the other region.
yeah, well, speaking of things that are exciting to watch, you guys at home have been calling out your favorite highlights from the week using hashtag MSI2017, and now we'd like to recap some of the big plays you called out, brought to you by our friends from Acer. First, we have at RTS Geonautic calling out TSM's heroic Dragon Steal against the GIGABYTE Marines. The hero play from Tenskaren and Hanser probably just won that game straight up, and it definitely helped out. Let's check it out.
This is the fight. That's what happens when you have teams playing it so safely, though, not wanting to do anything for a while. The next fight that does break out always ends up going completely crazy. As TSM goes away, Tenskaren flashes. Oh my god! Oh man, he actually goes in for the fight and he gets everything done. Hanser now coming in from behind on top of Levi. Cuts him down, make it even more. Sings sayonara as Optimus cannot do anything. A double kill for Bjerg and 4 dead bodies on the side of the GIGABYTE Marine.
This is fine for us. This is the fight. I'm TPing. I'm TPing mine. I'm TPing mine. I'm TPing mine. I'm going around. I'm going around. I can't flash in like that.
Nice.
Kite down. Go. Yeah, I'm fighting from try. 5 seconds. Good fight. It's a good fight.
I got Graves. I'm
I'm a fist.
Okay, go back.
Let's go. Nice.
All right, the thing I love most about that is we heard Bjergsen say it in the interview, and now we got to hear it on the comms as well, is literally all Tenskaren says to start that series. He's like, I'm Steel. We're going. I'm just like, I'm going to TP. Yeah, I'm going to take it. It's going to be mine.
I don't know when the last time you saw a jungler blind flash in to steal a dragon. That is incredible. Just the fact that he even gets that at that point and then realize he's got to stand around waiting for the TP to complete. I want to see a little picture of Captain Flowers in that because he was going off.
Yeah, like in the cast, me and Flowers looked at each other like, what? What is he doing? And then we saw the TP as well. It was like, oh, they're doing a thing. Like, and it was a great play. It was
I love your Captain Flowers.
Yeah.
Great.
It was fun.
Yeah, solid play. Probably won them the series, I think it's safe to say, or at least was the turning point in that game. However, not the only play to happen this weekend. At Juan B7 highlighted Kars' mechanics on the Blind Monk. Jesus, the Kars' Lee Sin 3-man kick. It's smooth, it's fresh, it's clean, whatever you want to call it. Let's take a look at it.
Although will slow up Betty, uses the heal nice and early. Smokescreen gets flashed away. Stamage still chasing him down, puts so much damage to the sword out despite the exhaust coming down. He's a man possessed, has to flash away.
Oh,
triple kick! Big side nod into 3 people. That's going to continue hunting him down. SuperMassive get the first kill in this skirmish, but Flash Wolves respond with 3 kills for themselves.
Storm Age drops low. Flash comes out in respect. Beautiful kick out of Casa, but ignited. Everybody from SuperMassive just turns their focus down on Casa.
It's a sweet moment, because you die there, and yes, that sucks, but I just imagine, I don't know if players are actually allowed to stand up out of their chairs and like wait for comeback.
Yeah,
the play continues, and you're just like, please, where are the like, because he earned it. Like that play right there, I think, was the moment where we're like, oh, we're now reminded how good Karsa is as a player.
It's that hilarious moment where we were on the analyst desk and we were looking like, oh, of course, because he would pick the God Fist Lee Sin skin, and then you see
little arrogant, aren't we?
And then he gets the kick and you're like, Okay, you can wear that skin. That's fine.
I think my favorite thing is there was a couple of things like that time the Sonic Wave didn't hit because it gets flashed out of it.
Yeah.
That happened a couple of times and Kaz is like, I don't care. Most people would just be like, I'm not going in. Kaz is like, I have flash. That means I'm going aggressive.
I can kick you.
Yeah. he outplays people with like missing the first skill than a lot of Lee Sins you see in competitive play do with everything.
I mean, he just goes in. You know, like you have to respect that, right? Because there's a lot of players. We saw it even earlier today where teams were going in without their cooldowns. Car's like, he can go in without cooldowns. He has earned that right. It looks good when he does it. Of course, interesting though how the tournament has unfolded. We did start with 10 teams starting out in Sao Paulo to fight for the 3 remaining spots in the MSI groups. And after a hard-fought 2 weeks, Flash Wolves, TSM, and now GIGABYTE Marines have booked their trip to Rio de Janeiro. And the group stage will be starting May 10th with the EU LCS going against the reigning world champion SKT. Personally, I think that match is really excited. We have the EU representatives here, but also after today, we have to be especially excited for Game 3. GIGABYTE Marines, TSM, the rematch. NA has to be a little bit uncomfortable with that one, I imagine.
Ooh, this is gonna be a good event. I'm really looking excited. This is gonna be so much fun. I can't wait. I want to see G2 reclaim their fame. You know, there was a lot of expectations from the last split, and then they weren't able to quite live up to that.
What?
And I know that they've been in Rio for a while already, preparing for the event, so I think that they're taking it extremely seriously. I know it's definitely not going to be in their favorites to be able to beat over SKT.
love this. Every time the EU people where the G2 apologists like, we swear, guys, this time it will be different.
But I mean, there's the saying, it's the only way from here is up, right? You face
that's
SKT
true.
first,
Exactly.
which it's kind of almost a win-win. You either do great against SKT, which is, albeit not many people have done that in history, or you're like, okay, SKT, toughest opponents out of the way. What do we learn from that? We know G2 are scrimming there now already, have been out in Brazil for a while. So I think having SKT first is probably a nice little challenge to overcome.
I don't care, it'll be fun. I just want to see good League of Legends, right?
Yeah.
If G2 lose, that's fine. As long as they lose playing their very best, that's what I want.
All right, well, one final question, guys, before we close it out for the day. Not going to get to see you guys at the main event. I want to know, who's your dark horse coming into this tournament? Obviously, SKT is up there. I'm going to say, actually, don't say G2, because you're not allowed to say G2.
Well, I think we're both going to say the same team. Do you want to say it first, or do you want
Team WE. I mean,
I wasn't actually...
No, and also it's difficult to estimate, right? Because I think that among the analysts, the current pecking order is that SKT are at the top. Flash Wolves are actually considered the second best team, and then it's kind of a fight between WE, G2, and TSM, and then with GIGABYTE Marines underneath. But I think that with the recent GIGABYTE Marines performance, especially against TSM, there are a few question marks as to whether or not TSM will be able to perform. How good will G2 and WE do? Because, like, internationally, China have often flopped, and then G2 have not had the best. So I think there are like a lot of questions.
Thaddeus, I agree there are a lot of question marks, which is why I asked you for your dark horse.
G2 are going to destroy everyone!
Okay, fine. G2 from Thaddeus. Stress.
I
What
should
about
have
you?
just gone with my option. The only reason you can even call them dark horses is because they had to play in to get there. Flash Wolves looked exceptionally strong. They looked great at IEM. I think they'll likely do a similar thing against G2 when they play him again. I think Flash Wolves are looking very dominant, and I wouldn't be surprised to see them matching up against SKT, but I still think SKT are the favorites.
We'll see how that group stage unfolds, but that's going to do it for us from here. So on behalf of myself, the casters, the entire live broadcast crew, thank you guys for watching, and we will see you in the group stage.
Welcome everybody to the final match of the MSI play-ins. We'll find out who's going to take this one. Will it be the GIGABYTE Marines, or will it be SuperMassive? Throws the barrel into the belly pop. It's Levi getting a collateral kill, and now the curtains are open. It's a double for the Graves. They got play. He's caught. He's going to have to flash away, but you can't dodge the knock-up here. Now GIGABYTE Marines a little bit low on the retreat past Dark.
It's can't kill anyone.
Give his life, but the SuperMassive don't have damage here. Levi got his kill with the collateral. SuperMassive are super dead. It looks like Stark's going to come back in, or is it SuperMassive tagging in with Fabulous and Double Dose? That's a triple kill for the Rumble. He pushed too far forward, but he gets a big barrel, looking for Sightknot, but Optimus is by himself as Fabulous picks up the GIGABYTE Marines jungler, and now the tables have turned. They're going to take down the rest of the opposition. Slay and Levi, last man standing as Stark comes back up, only to go back down. That's a double kill for Sightknot, And just like that, SuperMassive wipe out the GIGABYTE Marine. One more auto is all Stomage needed, but he can't find it. Fire down by Slay. Double doge going down, and all 4 members of the GIGABYTE Marines staying alive. Naru going in, looking for Optimus, who goes golden. Unleashes the power for the ace. It's game 4 between the GIGABYTE Marines and SuperMassive. Double doge going in, going too deep. Stomage follows. The shield is there. It's a double kill for Optimus. Slay looking to chase down, even tanking tower shots. Levi getting a double kill as he flashes in for the collateral. GIGABYTE Marines want to end this right here, right now. GIGABYTE Marines, they stay true, they stay aggressive, and they punch their tickets over to Rio